Mhm. Yeah, so this is SEO for article writing. Thinking that this is particularly relevant for us at ETR right now because we have a lot of people writing articles with their insights for the site. So just wanted to give you like some quick tips that will help you integrate search engine optimization into your article and hopefully get some organic traffic coming to it, or maybe more organic traffic. So why you should care, like I just said, search engine optimization best practices, they're really important to keep in the front of your mind so that we make sure that the great content you're writing actually is getting picked up on search engines. And sometimes that involves just a few tricks to keep in mind, not necessarily tricks, but things you might not be thinking of naturally to make sure that it does get seen. I think that it's important to consider SEO from the very beginning of the writing process, because if you write your whole article and then at the end try and think about SEO, it might be a little forced feeling if you're trying to like keyword stuff, as it used to be called. We try not to want to do that. You want it to be genuine content that actually provides value, and then you'll also happen to be doing the best practices that will make it favored in like search results. Just some like street cred, I guess. I've been like experimenting with SEO on articles. This is our Google Search Console analytics for the past 3 months, and 2 articles that I wrote or contributed to are like doing really well. Google Search Console is a tool that you can primarily use to see how your how your SEO is performing. It looks like we have a trend going up too, so that's awesome. The 2 metrics here are clicks and impressions. Impressions is kind of like how many search results it shows up on, and then clicks is how many people actually click. So you want impressions to be high, but you also want the ratio of clicks to impressions to be high, because it means people are seeing it and they're interested in clicking on it. So yeah, and also with the second article, how to check web accessibility with a screen reader and keyboard, we specifically in August made some search engine optimization like updates to it. So this was a little after the fact, but really it was just like a transcript before of another knowledge hour that I did. And we decided to, since it was kind of getting traffic on its own, like, can we make this better? So this is like about 3 months, and then like recently, and you can see after making those changes, we are like up like 108% in clicks and 43% in impressions. And that's awesome. Like the click to impression ratio gap is not only are impressions going up, but more people are clicking. So that's great to see. It means what we're doing is working. So first, when you're writing an article, you want to start by picking the right topic. I feel like at this point, you shouldn't need to focus too much on SEO. You really want to focus on a topic that you genuinely know well, and you feel like you're going to give readers a new perspective that they haven't heard before. Like, I really feel that there's so much content on the internet that you don't want to write a piece solely because like, oh, I'm going to get organic traffic to the site. Like, if the most important piece of search articles, like when an article appears on search, it's got to provide value, and that's not something that a computer or like special tricks can help you with. It actually just has to be well written content that is not just repeating what's already out there. So start with your heart, and start with some content that you actually think will be interesting and you have a unique perspective on. If someone clicks on an article and then immediately like bounces, they don't find value in it, that will signal to Google that it doesn't match the search that they search for, and it actually can like hurt your SEO. So you want it to be valuable and keep the real user on the site, not just be attractive to Googlebot, which crawls the web and looks for content. This image on the right here is from answerthepublic.com. It's a free tool that could possibly be used to get your brain turning on topics you might want to write about. What I did here with this is I typed in design trends, and then you can kind of like it visualizes, and you can like change this so it's a little easier to read, but like you can visualize the questions people are asking about design trends. And that might be a good place to start kind of like brainstorming ideas if you need a little help. Then after you've got your general topic, I think the next important thing to do is pick the right title. This is what I was talking about again before with, I think it makes sense to start at the beginning thinking of SEO, because sometimes the title that you find that works best for SEO might kind of change how you structure your content a little bit. The title really can make or break your search visibility, since it's the most scannable item, and it really seems to dictate heavily whether you're going to show up for a specific search topic or not. So I mainly use, we at ETR have SEMrush to fine tune a title. It's a very powerful tool, and the part of the tool that I use is called the keyword magic tool, I think. It basically allows you to search for something, and it shows you like related searches along with their volume, how competitive they are. So it allows you to kind of find something in the sweet spot that I think for us, like you wanted to actually get searches, at least, you know, some searches. You don't want it to be nothing. And you also don't want it to be so competitive. Like if you just wanted to write an article about design trends and you were trying to rank for design trends, we're going to be going up against a lot of heavy hitters. So getting a little more niche might help you. A free alternative to SEMrush is Google Ads Keyword Planner, which kind of does a similar thing. So oftentimes I think that the optimal title will give you ideas on how to structure your content. So like as an example, I searched SEO for article writing, and I was like trying to find a good keyword string to use, and I saw one that was SEO article writing for beginners and another that was writing SEO articles for pay. These are things people are searching for. That could be a good topic, could be a good way to hone in on your topic. And obviously both of these topics are going to have a very different body of content to talk about. One is kind of geared towards beginners, one is maybe geared towards experts. So if I start with the title, it kind of gives me an idea of how I might want to structure my content, as opposed to writing a general article and then thinking, oh, like beginners is really showing up, I have to rewrite this whole thing so that it's geared towards beginners, right? And then after you find that title, and you're like, search for it before you even have your article written and see what competitors are doing. And this will also give you content ideas, because you can think, what is lacking in this competitor's article? Is it out of date? Are they saying something that I don't agree with, or it could be expanded on more? And that automatically is giving you ideas for how to, when your content is live, make it more valuable than what's around it. Here's just an example. I was helping Todd with his article title. So he started with, in the top left here, like some brainstorm for ideas, which is a fine way to start. And then we ended up looking at visual design approval. It was like a key thing that we were seeing in a lot of these different title ideas. And when I went to the keyword magic tool in SEMrush, we saw no one's really searching for visual design approval. So it might not be the best place to start, because it's like just not like even if it's kind of the topic of the article, people might not be searching for that. You could still write about this, but how do you gear your title towards something people are going to be searching for? And we like did a lot of digging, and here are some ones that like they don't have a ton of volume, and even if it says 0 on SEMrush, and it just the fact that it shows up and it doesn't say like not available means that it's getting some searches. Maybe it averages out to like less than 10 a month, but it's still kind of showing up. So we had like decision on website design, and then website design approval. So we ended up going with, or I recommended how to confidently approve website design decisions, which is getting at the word approve, website design decisions. We're matching that keyword, and he could still write about that same topic, but we just know going in, like, this is something that at least is going to get maybe some hits. I really feel like SEO on the web operates differently than your traditional editorial headlines, where in a magazine or a newspaper, you might want to do something clever or catchy because people already have your magazine in their hands, and like, how can we draw them in? But in this sense, I think people just kind of, they're not looking for like editorial flair. They're looking to get the information that they need. So another experiment we did recently was we had this winning with UX research, ETR's tips for project success. And like, no one is searching for winning with UX research. Like, that's very editorial. And maybe we can get some other keywords with this, but I noticed that we were showing up in a lot of titles that had to do with creating a UX research plan. Like, sometimes when you launch an article in the query section, you could see, look at the difference between impressions and clicks on this article. This article is succeeding in showing up in search results, 26,000 impressions in the past 3 months, but only 29 clicks, compared to this article, the screen reader one, which has 20,000 impressions and 200 clicks. Like, we want to close the gap there. And so my hypothesis was the title might not be matching what people are searching for. So we have experimented with trying to change this title to be a little bit more utilitarian. And it's like, it's still, you want to make sure that it still is encapsulating what's in the content. This is why, again, I recommend starting with the title so you don't have to try to finagle things. I literally did this 7 days ago, so I can't give you a lot of data, but I mean, 100% difference, it's only 3, but I think we already might be seeing some lift just by doing that. Metadata and keywords is another thing. So this on the right here is the Yoast plugin, which is included, it's installed on our WordPress. And I think it is a free plugin to use on other WordPress sites, and they might even have non-WordPress versions, but it's a really helpful tool. It doesn't actually change anything about what your SEO on its own, but it gives you recommendations. And one of those recommendations you're going to get is metadata and keywords. So as I said earlier, like, keyword stuffing is no longer as effective as people used to, like, just spam the keyword that they wanted people to search for in their article to show up. And some people still do this. Sometimes they come across an article where you could just tell it was written for a search engine, for a search bot. And we all maybe have seen that before, and that content is not helpful. It's like, you can tell it's ingenuine. So people will click away. I think Google's catching on to keyword stuffing and doesn't value it as much anymore. So don't just spam the keyword. But you still want to repeat what you think people are searching for in the article in various ways. So like, let's say we're writing this article about our SEO articles for pay. Instead of a subhead that just says how to get started, maybe you want to repeat the keyword, how to get started writing SEO articles for pay, but don't overdo it. It's a balance of how can this feel natural and how can we get the keywords in. And Yoast gives you a lot of examples on the side here that I won't go into, but they tell you to put the key phrase in the introduction at least once. They give you density, where you can like it'll like look at the density of how many times it's used and tell you whether or not to add more if it's using the subhead. And you can also kind of have one main key phrase and then one like alternative or a couple alternatives to help make it a little bit less repetitive and kind of stilted feeling. Meta descriptions, they can be added directly into WordPress using the Yoast plugin, or else they're normally written to the HTML and kind of like its own meta tag in the header. And that will be usually what the description is underneath the header in a search result, but sometimes Google does swap that out and just take parts of the text that has that keyword in it and replace that. So that's another reason why you want to just repeat the key phrase in case they decide to use something else. And then scannability. So after you've gotten your key phrase in, just general good readability practice to kind of know that people on the internet, they're not going to go to your article and like immediately like get ready to read every single word. They're first going to want to like scan the content to make sure this is something that they are interested in. And then if they find a section that's like, oh, this is what I need, they might read it in more depth. But so we want to be helpful in their scanning with like headers and not making too many paragraphs between sections. Again, the readability here in Yoast gives you examples of how to do this properly. You don't want a wall of text. If someone sees a wall of text, they're going to click away to the article to find something that's easier, that's more easy to scan. Yeah, keep those sections short, add more subheadings, the better, even if it seems like you don't need it. Like, I think just breaking up the text makes it really more easy to understand, easy to find what section you should be in, etc. Also using images to break up text, and make sure that the captions on the images, there are captions, because if someone is scrolling and they need the context of the paragraph around it to understand the image, they might miss that. So just add a caption as well to make it real easy to scan. And these are human things that keep people on the page longer, which in turn tells Google and Googlebot, this is valuable. They click this link after searching for this and they stayed on the page. This is a good search result. Linking and promoting. So after you've written your article, or also part of writing the article is thinking about other internal links. Our content library is growing. So when you're writing about a certain topic, think about the other topics we have written at and try to think about ways to connect them. This makes us look authoritative on the topic. It keeps people on our site because it's giving them another link to click on that's still on our site. And it strengthens the connection between pages for Googlebot to know how pages are related and kind of just generally crawl our site better. External sites also strengthen our authority, and we're saying like, we don't know everything, but here is more resources. It makes the article more legitimate. It's helpful to the user. Just make sure the external links open in a new tab so they don't completely leave our site. And consider reaching out to people you think you link to or reference in your article. Like, it might seem like a small chance, but it can't hurt to at least say, hey, like I mentioned you in this article, would love if you read it. Backlinks, which is when someone links to our site from somewhere else, is very strong indicator of content being valuable. Someone else is going to link to it. Social media, I think, has no follow links, which makes it not as helpful. But if someone put it on their website, we would definitely get some SEO boost for that. On the right is 2 examples of people that I reached out to when I wrote a navigation article, because I was pretty proud of it. This one, UX podcast I listened to, I said, like, please check it out. And they said, like, they gave me a compliment and they would consider it for future publication, which is awesome. And then I reached out to someone from Nielsen Norman Group and said, you should read this. And they said they will take a look. So I don't know if anything came of that, but it's on their radar. And maybe the more we do that, the more we're on people's radar. Lastly, measure and iterate. So after launching, pay attention to those analytics like Google Search Console and analytics. I'm happy to talk with anybody on the side about how to get involved and start clicking around in Search Console. We should all have access to it. And pay attention to like how your article is showing up in different, like you'll see like maybe you're showing up for some unexpected queries, or your impressions are high but your clicks are low, and then how can we adjust this to make the clicks and impressions better? And then just mark the date of your changes so you can track your progress. That's how I was able to show those results previously. This is just like an internal note where every time I make an SEO update, I just mark it so that I can check back later and do a comparison to see has there been any lift. Yeah, and that is like a speed round overview of some SEO best practices. Thank you.